teacher, you can track your students' progress in Khan Academy. I assume that at this point you have set up your teacher account. Students have set up their student accounts, and then they have enrolled in your SAT practice class, and then they have also imported their PSAT or SAT test scores into Khan Academy. If they haven't done any of those things, I do have videos of how to do each and every one of those tasks, so feel free to check those out. But once again, this is just on tracking student progress. So, as usual, log in to your Gmail account, or however you're going to log in to Khan. And I assume that for teachers here at SJHS, you're using your school account, and then you just click on login. Continue with Google, and that allows you to access your Khan Academy class. That'll take you to the standard dashboard, what's called the teacher dashboard, and you've got your classes, your students, and your resources. And what I'm going to do is load up my own seminar class. And then there are different tabs for content, assignments, activity, SAT, roster, and settings. So under the SAT tab, you can see SAT practice, how much each student has done in each of the classes. So I've got my list of students and what they've done. Now, if a student hasn't allowed data sharing yet, there will be a spot down here on the bottom. It will be listed below your last student, and it will say students that have not enabled data sharing. And if you want to have students enable that data sharing so that you can see it, which you're definitely going to want to do, it will give you an option over here on this side. It will say resend data sharing invite, and go ahead and click on that, and the next time the student logs in, there will be a pop-up window that asks if you want to share. So you can definitely see the number of minutes that the student has practiced. They can set up personal goals, which I would recommend for your practice sessions, the number of practice questions that they've done. And then for each of the practice modules, they allow the option of other questions in addition to the recommended questions, and so they can do those. A couple of things I guess that I want to show or share. These recommended questions here, these are based on their their own PSAT or SAT scores that have been imported into Khan Academy. And so they've set this up ahead of time so that all their scores have been entered in. And so this is going to be unique to each and every student, which questions are recommended and which ones would be considered others. What might be considered a recommended question for one student might be an other question for another student if they didn't struggle on that particular topic. The other thing that I want to point out is the time frame. You have yesterday, the last 7 days, the last 30 days, all time, and custom range. As teachers, typically we are going to be requiring like 30 minutes a week. And so it might not be the last 7 days, but you might want a specific time frame. So the custom range is something that they've just added where you can add from. So for example, this would be for us, it could be for like last week I had, or the week before, you got October 15th through, I allow them from Monday through Friday. You can set that range and then apply, and then it will give the amounts of times that the students have spent during that specific time frame. So you can change that at any point in time. So there you go. That allows you to see what exactly it is that the students have been doing. There is another activity tab here, and I find this useful as well. If you click on activity, this says down here, this view approximates what times your students were actively learning across all Khan Academy classes, not just the SAT prep, but any other course as well. It also breaks this down into the amounts of time that they are spending during the school hours, and then the amount of time that they spend outside of school as well. It will break that down into the individual ones. And I have 3 students here that have been working with the Academy. But down here it says the above graph does not include SAT time. This is the official SAT practice module, and you want students working in this specific module, which is reflected in the SAT tab here. I pointed out this activity tab because these students are working on the Khan Academy but not in the official SAT practice module, and so this doesn't customize those practice questions to what they need. And so these students aren't working in the same area, and so this graph, it's nice to show what students you need to make sure and kind of modify as far as their behaviors go. Down here it says view how much time each student has spent on the SAT practice. You can click on that, and then it goes to that same view as the SAT. It just moves it over to the next tab. So that's the one you're really going to want to have set up. So that's how you track. You can also have parents track this information as well, and I've got a document that you can send out to parents, but they basically set up an account and then they go to the parent dashboard and then they add their student. They set up their account initially. I'm going to log off for a second here. They set up their initial account here as a parent, and then once they do that, I'll show you just briefly how that works. They would go to, instead of teacher, they would go to parent dashboard and then add your child, and then it is assumed that their kid already has an account because you're working with that student in your class, and so you'd choose my child already has an account, and then enter the child's school email address. That's the one that they typically will use for Khan Academy, and then they click next. And once that happens, the student will log into the SAT practice and it will ask for data sharing to be turned on with the parent. So that's basically all you need to do for that. I've got another video specifically on adding parent accounts as well. So that should take care of it.